The knife slipped from my hand and clattered into the sink, blood blooming across my palm like an accusation I couldn't wash away. I stared at the cut, sharp and sudden, mirroring the way Jordan's laugh had sliced through the tense silence of our shared kitchen just moments before. In that instant, with the sting burning up my arm, I realized hating him wasn't just a habit anymore. It was the only thing keeping my heart from unraveling. I never thought I'd end up here, in a cramped two-bedroom walk-up in Brooklyn, staring down the barrel of a roommate agreement with the one guy who'd made my college years a living hell. Jordan Hayes, with his effortless charm and that infuriating smirk, had been the bane of my existence since freshman orientation at NYU. Back then, he was the theater kid who stole every spotlight, the one whose coming-out monologue in drama class had left half the room in tears and the other half whispering judgments. I was Alex Rivera, the straight-A psych major from a conservative Jersey family, too buried in textbooks to notice how his confidence made everyone else feel small, including me. We'd clashed over group projects, dorm pranks, and once, memorably, over who got to use the communal microwave last. By graduation, our mutual disdain was legend, sealed with a final blowout at the senior luau, where he called me out for being repressively vanilla in front of our entire circle. Fast forward 3 years, and life had a cruel sense of humor. My dream job as a junior analyst at a midtown marketing firm came with a salary that barely covered student loans and the rent on my shoebox studio in Williamsburg. When the building went co-op and I got eviction papers, panic set in. Craigslist was a wasteland of sketchy shares and skyrocketing prices until I spotted his ad, room in Bushwick Brownstone. No drama, no flakes. Serious inquiries only. $950 utilities included. The photo showed a sun-drenched space with exposed brick and plants everywhere, a far cry from my sterile white walls. I almost scrolled past when I saw the name, J. Hayes. But desperation won. I emailed, keeping it curt, saw your post. Available to view tomorrow. His reply was instant. Alex? From NYU? Universe hates us both. Come at 7. The viewing was a disaster wrapped in awkward small talk. Jordan looked the same, taller maybe, with that same tousled blonde hair and a tattoo peeking from his sleeve, a delicate line of script I didn't dare ask about. He was freelancing as a graphic designer now, pulling gigs for indie bands and queer nonprofits, living in the brownstone he'd inherited from his aunt. She's the one who got me through coming out, he said, handing me a beer from the fridge. Left it to me when she passed last year. Figured I'd turn the spare into cash flow. I nodded, avoiding his eyes, focusing on the contract he'd slid across the coffee table. It was typed up neat, 6 bullet points. Rent due first, no overnight guests without notice, chores split 50-50, quiet after midnight, mutual respect clause, and a 90-day eject button if it didn't work. Simple. Clinical. I signed without reading the fine print, my hand shaking just enough to smudge the ink. That first night, I hauled my boxes up 3 flights, cursing the universe under my breath. Jordan helped, of course, grabbing the heaviest one with a grin that said he knew exactly how much I resented it. Welcome to Casa de Chaos, he quipped, dumping it in my room, a narrow space with a slanted ceiling and a window overlooking a fire escape tangled in ivy. I muttered thanks and shut the door, collapsing onto the bare mattress. Sleep came fitful, haunted by the creak of floorboards and the faint hum of his music seeping through the wall, some indie folk track about lost loves that twisted in my gut. Morning brought the first crack in the facade. I stumbled into the kitchen at dawn, bleary-eyed and craving coffee, only to find Jordan at the stove, flipping pancakes in nothing but boxer briefs and an apron that read "Kiss the Cook" in glittery letters. He turned, spatula midair, and our eyes met, mine widening in horror, his sparkling with amusement. Morning, roomie. Batter's vegan if you're into that. I froze, heat crawling up my neck. Not from the steam but from the casual exposure, the way his skin glowed under the pendant light. I'd always known he was gay, out and proud since day one. But seeing it up close like this, no barriers, no stage lights, felt invasive. Wrong. I grabbed a mug, filled it with water from the tap, and backed out. Not hungry, I mumbled, fleeing to my room to dress for work. The days blurred into a tense routine. I'd leave before he woke, return after he'd crashed, our paths crossing in fragments. A sticky note on the fridge about emptying the dishwasher, His sneakers kicked off by the door blocking my path, the faint scent of his cologne, sandalwood, and citrus lingering in the hallway like an unwelcome guest. But avoidance only sharpened the edges. One evening, I came home to find him on the couch, laptop balanced on his knees, sketching logos for a drag show's poster. The screen glowed with vibrant colors, fierce queens in exaggerated poses, and he glanced up, wiping his brow. Rough day. It was the first real question he'd asked, voice soft around the edges. I shrugged, dropping my bag. Same as always. Deadlines. He nodded, closing the laptop. Want to split a pizza? My treat. Olive and mushroom. No anchovies, I promise. Against my better judgment, I said yes. We ate on paper plates, cross-legged on the floor, the TV droning some Netflix documentary about Stonewall that he paused every 5 minutes to fact-check. See, that's bullshit, he'd say, eyes lighting up. The media always glosses over the trans women of color who started it all. I listened, picking at crust, surprised by the fire in him, not the performative kind from college, but raw, personal. He'd lost friends to the AIDS crisis in his family, carried that weight like a badge. Makes you fight harder for what's right, he said, meeting my gaze. I shifted, uncomfortable with the vulnerability cracking open between us. Yeah, well, not everyone's got that luxury. Some of us just try to get by. The words landed sharper than intended, echoing my own unspoken battles, the late-night Google searches about bisexuality I deleted in shame. The family dinners where dad's jokes about the gays made my stomach churn. He didn't push, just stacked the plates and stood. Fair enough, Rivera. Night. But as he walked away, I caught the flicker in his shoulders, the way he rolled them like shaking off a chill. Guilt gnawed at me that night, mixing with the exhaustion until I couldn't tell one from the other. Week 2 brought the first real storm. It started with a misunderstanding, as they always do. I'd invited my sister Elena over for dinner, a rare visit from Jersey, her bringing empanadas and stories about Mom's latest garden obsession. Jordan was out, thank God, so I prepped the space, hiding his rainbow mug collection in the cupboard and straightening the throw pillows to erase any hint of his presence. Elena arrived in a whirlwind of hugs, her dark curls bouncing as she unpacked foil trays. This place is cute, Alex. Way better than that dump you had before. We laughed, settling at the table, when the door burst open. Jordan, soaked from a sudden downpour, shook out his umbrella like a dog, water splattering the floor. Shit, it's a monsoon out there. He froze, spotting Elena, then flashed that grin. Hey, you must be the famous sister. I'm Jordan. Elena lit up, extending a hand. The roommate? Alex barely mentioned you. They chatted effortlessly, her asking about his designs, him complimenting her cooking with genuine enthusiasm. I watched, jaw tight, as he pulled out a chair and joined us, stealing bites like he'd been invited. It was fine at first, until Elena leaned in, voice dropping conspiratorially. So, Jordan, spill. What's the deal with you two? Alex is so buttoned up. He needs someone like you to loosen him up. Jordan chuckled, but his eyes flicked to me, reading the storm brewing. Oh, we're just surviving cohabitation. Enemies to roommates trope, right, Alex? Elena's brow shot up. Enemies? What? Like you stole his parking spot or something. The laugh that followed was forced, mine most of all. But later, as Elena hugged goodbye, she whispered in my ear, he's cute. And nice. Don't screw this up by being your usual prickly self. The door clicked shut, and Jordan turned, arms crossed. Enemies, huh? That's still the story you're selling. His tone was light, but the hurt underneath sliced deep. I bristled, defensive. It's not a story. You know how it was. He stepped closer, rain still dripping from his hair. Yeah, I do. You treated me like I was contagious back then. Like my being gay was some personal affront to your perfect little world. The words hung heavy, the kitchen shrinking around us. I opened my mouth to deny it, but nothing came. Because he was right, and admitting that meant admitting more than I was ready for. He sighed, rubbing his temple. Forget it. Just clean up your own mess next time. He vanished into his room, door clicking with finality. I stood there, fists clenched, the empanadas cooling untouched. That night, sleep evaded me again, the wall between us thinner than ever, every toss echoing like judgment. The thaw came unexpectedly, in the quiet hours when defenses slip. It was a Friday, the kind where the city pulses with possibility, But I opted for solitude, nursing a beer on the fire escape with a book I wasn't reading. Jordan joined me uninvited, balancing 2 glasses of wine, his feet dangling beside mine. Truce, he offered, clinking his against my bottle. I eyed him, the city lights painting his face in neon hues. What's the catch? He shrugged, sipping slow. No catch. Just tired of the Cold War. We're adults now, right? Ish. We talked then, halting at first, about safe things. His latest client ghosting him, my boss's micromanaging. Laughter crept in, surprising us both when he recounted a disastrous date with a barista who turned out to be straight and married. I mean, the red flags were there, but who checks rings anymore? I snorted, the wine loosening knots I didn't know were there. Sounds like my luck with apps. Endless swiping, 0 sparks. The admission hung, vulnerable, and his head tilted, curiosity sharpening his gaze. Apps. Didn't peg you for the type. Heat flushed my cheeks, but I held steady. Bye, actually. But low-key. Family stuff. The words tumbled out. Unplanned. The fire escape our confessional. He nodded. No judgment. Just a soft, that sucks. Coming out's a bitch, no matter the shade. We sat in silence after, the hum of traffic below a distant lullaby, and for the first time, the space between us felt less like a battlefield and more like possibility. But peace is fragile, and ours shattered the next week with a visitor from my past. My cousin Marco showed up unannounced, fresh from a construction job in Queens, all broad shoulders and booming voice. Heard you shacked up, primo. Had to see the digs. He barreled in, clapping my back hard enough to rattle ribs, oblivious to the tension. Jordan was in the living room, sketching, and rose with a polite smile. Hey man, coffee. Marco waved it off, dropping onto the couch like he owned it. Nah, we're good. So this the roomie? Alex says you're some artsy type. The phrasing grated, laced with that casual machismo I'd grown up swallowing. Jordan's smile tightened. Graphic design, yeah? Pays the bills. Conversation veered safe, then soured when Marco launched into a story from the side a coworker going full rainbow and how it weirded everyone out. He laughed, punching my arm. Remember Uncle Raoul's wedding? That one cousin who brought his boyfriend? Awkward as hell. I froze, glancing at Jordan, whose pencil had stilled, knuckles white. Marco, I started, but he barreled on, oblivious. What? It's just facts. Not everyone's cool with that lifestyle. The room iced over. Jordan stood abruptly, sketchpad snapping shut. Lifestyle? That's cute. Enjoy the couch, Alex. I'm out. The door slammed, echoing like a gunshot. Marco blinked, confused. What crawled up his ass? Rage boiled in me, hot and unfamiliar. That was my roommate you're shitting on. And it's not a lifestyle, it's who he is. The words exploded, years of buried frustration surfacing. Marco's face hardened. Whoa, easy. Didn't mean nothing by it. Just saying how it is. But I was done saying nothing. Get out. He left sputtering, and I sank to the floor, head in hands, the weight of it all crashing down. I found Jordan at a dive bar 2 blocks away, nursing a whiskey neat, staring into the amber like it held answers. Heard you stuck up for me. His voice was rough, edged with surprise. I slid onto the stool beside him, signaling for a round. Family's complicated, but that doesn't make it right. We drank in silence, the jukebox crooning old soul tunes, until he turned, eyes searching. Why do you do that? Protect the ones who hurt you. The question pierced, forcing truths I'd skirted. Because losing them means losing myself. Or what's left of it. Vulnerability mirrored back, his hand brushing mine accidental, electric. Neither pulled away. That night, back home, the contract on the table seemed laughable, its rules bent beyond recognition. We talked until dawn, peeling layers stories of first crushes, family rejections, the quiet fears that bind us. By 2 a.m., exhaustion won. But as I drifted off on the couch where we'd migrated, his voice murmured soft, You're not so bad, Rivera. Feels like home already. My eyes snapped open, heart stuttering, but he was asleep, head lolled against my shoulder. In that whisper, the enemies faded, leaving only the terrifying bloom of something real. The high was fleeting, undercut by whispers of doubt. At work, my focus splintered, emails unanswered as I replayed that moment, the warmth of his breath against my neck. Colleagues noticed, teasing about roommate glow, but I brushed it off, burying deeper. Jordan, too, seemed adrift, sketching feverishly, late nights at his desk bleeding into mornings where he'd emerge hollow-eyed, forcing smiles over breakfast. Big project, he'd say, but I saw the strain, the way his laughs rang hollow. The conflict ignited at a mutual friend's gallery opening in Soho, an invite we'd both RSVP'd to separately. The space buzzed with creatives, air thick with perfume and pretense, canvases splashed in bold abstracts that screamed emotion I couldn't name. I spotted him across the room, surrounded by admirers, his laugh genuine for once as he networked a potential client. Pride swelled unbidden, mixed with a sharp pang when a tall guy leaned in too close, hand on Jordan's elbow. Jealousy, irrational and hot, coiled in my gut. I nursed a gin and tonic, pretending nonchalance, until our eyes met through the crowd. He excused himself, weaving over with 2 flutes of champagne. Fancy meeting you here, stranger. We fell into easy rhythm, critiquing the art, his insights sharp and passionate, mine tentative, probing. This one's about loss, he said, gesturing to a fractured portrait. See the negative space? That's the ache. I nodded, closer than necessary, our arms brushing. The tall guy approached then, all smiles and cologne. Jordan, you vanished. Who's this? Introductions stumbled, the guy's name Tyler blurring as he dominated, dropping names of curators like breadcrumbs. Jordan tensed beside me, polite but distant, until Tyler's hand lingered on his back. We should grab coffee soon. Catch up properly. The implication hung, and something snapped in me. Actually, I cut in, voice steadier than I felt. Jordan's got plans. With me. Tyler arched a brow, amusement flickering. Oh, didn't realize you two were. He trailed off, eyes darting between us. Jordan's flush was immediate, but he didn't correct me, just murmured, yeah, something like that. Tyler backed off with a nod, and we escaped to a quieter corner, hearts pounding. What was that? Jordan hissed, half laughing, half mortified. Improvising. I admitted, champagne fizzing in my veins. Couldn't stand him pawing you. His gaze softened, searching. Jealous. The word dangled, charged. I swallowed, stepping closer. Maybe. The air thickened, possibility electric, until a voice shattered at Elena's, calling my name from the entrance. She'd come with her fiancé, a surprise visit, and dragged me into hugs, oblivious to the undercurrent. Alex, this place is amazing. Introduce me. Jordan played host flawlessly, charming her over small talk, but I caught the strain, the way his eyes avoided mine. Dinner followed at a nearby bistro, the 4 of us crammed at a candlelit table, laughter flowing until Elena's fiancé, pragmatic Tom, steered to real estate. You two lucked out on that brownstone. Bushwick's blowing up. Jordan nodded, but I saw the shadow, his aunt's death still fresh, the house a tether to grief. Yeah, it's home now. The word landed soft, echoing that 2 a.m. whisper, and Elena caught it, grinning slyly. Home with Alex? Sounds serious. The table chuckled, but Jordan's smile faltered, fork pausing midair. Just roommates, he said, too quick, too light. Hurt flickered in me. Unbidden, why did it sting? Tom, sensing awkwardness, pivoted to wedding plans, but the damage lingered. Back at the brownstone, silence stretched taut as we shed coats. Sorry about earlier. I started, but he waved it off. Don't. Tyler's an ex-ancient history. The admission hung, jealousy twisting anew. And what am I? The question escaped, raw. He turned, eyes stormy. What do you want to be, Alex? Because this back and forth, it's exhausting. Vulnerability cracked open, his walls crumbling. I don't know. I whispered, truth bitter. But I know I don't want to lose this. Us. He closed the distance, forehead to mine, breath mingling. Then stopped fighting it. The kiss was inevitable, soft at first, tentative, then deepening with the weight of unspoken years. It tasted of champagne and regret, hands framing faces, pulling closer until the world narrowed to heartbeat and heat. We broke apart gasping, foreheads pressed, reality crashing back. Fuck, he breathed, a laugh bubbling. That was... Yeah, I agreed, dazed. But dawn brought clarity, and with it, fear. What now? The afterglow was a minefield, days laced with stolen glances and lingering touches, a brush of fingers over coffee, his foot hooking mine under the table during takeout movie nights. We didn't label it, didn't need to yet, content in the bubble. But bubbles burst, and ours did spectacularly at my family's holiday dinner. Mom insisted, the annual Rivera feast in our Jersey split level, turkey and tamales steaming under fluorescent lights. I brought Jordan as my roommate, a half-truth that sat uneasy. Dad greeted him with a firm handshake, eyes appraising. Heard you're in design. Good money. Jordan handled it smooth, charming Mom with compliments on her flan recipe, but tension simmered beneath. Dinner devolved when Uncle Raul, 3 beers in, launched into politics rants about traditional values and how the liberals are ruining marriage. Marco, still smarting from our fight, chimed in. Tell me about it. Can't even joke anymore without getting canceled. Eyes turned to Jordan, who sat rigid, fork tracing patterns in his plate. I squeezed his knee under the table, a silent anchor, but Dad leaned forward. What's your take, son? You seem level-headed. The room hushed, a trap sprung. Jordan met his gaze steady. I think love's love. Doesn't come with a rule book. The words landed like grenades, Uncle Raul scoffing, Mom shifting uncomfortably. Dad's brow furrowed. That's noble, but family's about legacy. Kids, stability. The subtext screamed, and I couldn't breathe. Dad, I interjected, voice cracking. It's not that simple. Elena jumped in, diffusing with wedding talk, but the damage etched deep. Outside later, under the porch light, Jordan lit a rare cigarette, exhaling slow. Your family's intense. I leaned against the railing, guilt heavy. They're trying. In their way. He nodded, but hurt lingered. I get it. Mine disowned me at 17. Said I was a phase. Still waiting for the call that never comes. The confession gutted me, pulling him into a hug that turned desperate. Apologies murmured into his hair. Homeward on the train, silence companionable at first, then fracturing. You defended me, he said softly. Proud of you. But my mind replayed Dad's words, doubts whispering. What if he's right? What if this upends everything? The seed took root, sprouting in quiet moments when I'd pull away from a kiss, citing work, or scroll dating apps in secret, testing escapes. The breaking point came mid-January, a blizzard blanketing the city in white, trapping us inside with nowhere to run. Power flickered, candles casting shadows as we huddled under blankets, sharing stories by flashlight. He opened up about his aunt, the woman who'd raised him after his parents' rejection, her battle with cancer a quiet fury that inspired his activism. She said, "Own your light, kid. Don't dim for anyone." Tears glistened, and I held him, whispering my own fractures, the confusion of high school crushes on boys dismissed as bromance, the therapy sessions I'd bailed on. I was scared of becoming the disappointment. Vulnerability bonded us, leading to a night of closeness, no heat, just bodies entwined, breaths sinking in the dark. But morning brought a call from work, a promotion, contingent on relocating to Chicago. It's huge, I told him over oatmeal, voice hollow. His face fell, spoon clattering. Chicago? As in goodbye. Panic edged his tone. It's temporary. 6 months, maybe. Lies, even then. He stood, pacing. And what about us? This. He gestured wildly. The contract crumpled on the counter, a relic. We finally get here, and you bail? It's career. I pleaded, but doubt choked me. You think I want to? He laughed bitter. Then don't. Fight for it, Alex. For once. The accusation stung true, and I lashed out. Easy for you to say. You've got your art, your community. I have nothing if this falls through. His eyes widened, wounded. Nothing? What am I then? Your experiment. The room spun, regrets tumbling. That's not. But he was gone, bundling into coat and boots, vanishing into the snow. I chased, streets blinding white, shouts lost to wind. He was a ghost by the time I circled back, defeated. Days blurred into isolation, the apartment echoing empty. Texts went unread, his sketches abandoned on the table. Elena called, worried. What happened? He posted a cryptic quote about walking away from half-loves. Panic surged, and I spilled it all, the promotion, the fight, the fear. You're an idiot, she said bluntly. He sees you, Alex. All of you. Don't throw that away for a corner office. Her words ignited resolve, but pride stalled me until Marco texted an apology, unprompted. Heard about your guy. Dad's mellowing. Told him to back off the macho shit. Cracks in the foundation, but progress. I found Jordan at his aunt's old studio downtown, a loft cluttered with canvases and ghosts. He was packing boxes, methodically folding her scarves, face streaked with dust and unshed tears. "What are you doing here?" Voice raw, but he didn't turn away. "Quitting," I said, stepping close. "The job. Chicago. All of it." He paused, eyes searching. "Why?" Truth poured out, unfiltered. "Because you're home. Not the brownstone, not the contract you." And I was too scared to admit it. Surprise softened him, then suspicion. "You mean that? Or is this guilt talking?" I took his hands, cold and trembling. "I mean it. Every messy, terrifying bit." Laughter broke, mingled with sobs, and we collapsed against a stack of easels, holding on as the storm raged outside. Forgiveness wasn't instant, but it bloomed slow, in late-night confessions and tentative plans. He stayed. I stayed. The contract burned in a ceremonial ashtray pyre, ashes scattering like old skins. Spring thawed the city and us, conflicts ebbing into growth. Prejudices lingered, Dad's calls awkward but warming, Marco inviting us to a game, but his family dinners evolved, questions probing deeper. Jordan's community enveloped me, pride parades and potlucks where I learned to stand unapologetic. Misunderstandings surfaced, a misinterpreted text sparking a minor row, resolved over rooftop wine, but each forged stronger bonds. The climax crested at Elena's wedding, a sun-dappled affair in Central Park, vows exchanged under blooming cherries. Jordan stood as my plus one, hand in mine, rings glinting on others but promise in our grip. Dad pulled me aside during toasts, voice gruff. "He's good for you, son. Makes you lighter." The concession cracked open, floods of relief. Hugs exchanged, tentative but real. As fireworks lit the night, Jordan whispered against my ear. "Told you. Home's where the heart fights to stay." Our story didn't end there, no tidy bows, just the ongoing dance of love's tensions, surprises in quiet mornings and climaxes in shared dreams. From enemies bound by paper to lovers woven by choice, we learned that home isn't a place, but the voice calling you back at 2 a.m., steady and sure. The summer heat wave hit Brooklyn like a fever dream, turning our brownstone into a sauna where every breath stuck to your skin. Jordan and I navigated the newfound rhythm with a mix of exhilaration and clumsiness, like dancers learning steps on a crowded floor. Mornings started with his coffee brewing strong and black, my alarm blaring at 6:15 sharp, and we'd collide in the hallway half-dressed, stealing kisses that left lipstick smudges on collars or stubble burn on necks. "You're a menace," I'd grumble, wiping my mouth, but the grin betrayed me. He'd wink, tossing over a towel. "And you're predictable. Loosen up, Rivera." Work became the anchor, my days at the firm a grind of spreadsheets and strategy sessions that kept the doubts at bay. The promotion fallout had cost me a week's pay and notice, but the freelance gigs Jordan connected me with, graphic audits for queer startups, filled the gap. Evenings spent side by side at the kitchen table, laptops glowing like campfires. "This tagline's too corporate," he'd critique, leaning over my shoulder, chin on my arm. "Make it sing." His input sharpened my edge, and in return, I'd proof his pitches, catching typos that could sink a deal. It was partnership, unforced, the kind that sneaks up and reshapes you. But shadows lingered, especially from his side. One night, post a grueling client call where he'd been undercut by a cheaper rival, Jordan paced the living room, phone clutched like a grenade. They loved the mocks, then bailed for some AI crap. What's the point? His voice cracked, rare vulnerability surfacing. I pulled him down beside me, rubbing circles on his back. "The point's your vision. They'll see it." He leaned in, head on my chest, but the tremor didn't fade. "What if I'm just chasing ghosts? Andy's legacy feels heavier some days." We talked then, deep into the witching hour, about the pressure of inheritance, not just the house, but the expectation to carry her torch. She was unbreakable, he said. "I'm just me." I kissed his temple. "That's enough. More than." Friendships woven too, pulling us outward. Elena became our unofficial therapist, hosting brunches where she'd grill Jordan on taming my brother, while he teased her about Tom's spreadsheet wedding budget. Straight people, he'd mock, rolling eyes, but the affection shone through. His circle enveloped me slower, a mix of theater alums and activists, gatherings at dive bars where discussions veered from policy to personal. At one, a panel on by erasure, a panelist named Riley cornered me post-talk. "So, you're the guy turning Jordan monogamous?" Spill. I laughed it off, but the label stuck, gnawing. Was I? Or was this just another phase, my history of half-commits repeating? The first real test came in August. A weekend getaway. Elena gifted us a cabin upstate for you two lovebirds to unplug. The drive north was soundtrack of his playlists, indie anthems, and soul crooners, windows down, hands intertwined over the gearshift. The cabin nestled by a lake, all pine scent and screened porch, a world away from city clamor. We arrived at dusk, unpacking groceries and guitars, the air crisp with promise. Evenings blurred into bonfires, stories swapped over Esmores' tales of underground shows, mine of childhood summers dodging Dad's lectures. One night, under stars thick as secrets, he strummed a melody soft and searching. "Wrote this for you," he admitted, cheeks flushed. The lyrics wove our arch enemy's barbs, softening to lovers' vows, and as the last chord faded, I pulled him close, the kiss sealing what words couldn't. But paradise cracks, and ours did on a hike, trail mud slick from rain. We argued trivial at first over the map's direction, my insistence on logic clashing his gut feel navigation. "You're always plotting," he snapped, slipping on a route. I caught him, but momentum sent us tumbling into ferns, laughing until the bruise on his elbow surfaced, purple and angry. "See? Your way hurts." The metaphor landed unintended, dredging insecurities. Back at the cabin, bandaging in silence, he voiced it. "Are we moving too fast?" After everything. Doubt mirrored mine, the bi-label echoing Riley's jab. "I don't want to be your regret," I confessed. He cupped my face, fierce. "You're my choice." Every day, resolution held, but the seed of fear sprouted, waiting for water. Return to the city brought immersion, Jordan's drag show gig pulling me into his world. "Just observe," he said, prepping in our bathroom, contour sharp, lashes fluttering. The venue pulsed with bass and bodies, queens commanding stage in feathers and fury. He performed mid-set, lip-synced to a Torch song about redemption, eyes finding mine in the crowd, raw and reaching. Applause thundered, but backstage, a producer approached slick suit, card in hand. "Talent like yours needs polish. Audition in LA next month." Pride swelled, but so did panic. Relocation again, this time his dream. "What do you think?" he asked later, makeup smudged, exhilarated. "Go," I urged, masking the twist in my gut. "It's your shot." The offer hung over us like humidity, conversations circling without landing. He prepped demos, I supported from sidelines, but tension simmered in sidelong glances, unspoken what-ifs. Elena noticed at our next brunch, fork stabbing eggs. "You're both idiots if you let distance dictate. Fight smarter." Her advice echoed, but action stalled until a storm night, thunder rattling windows as we lay awake. "If I go," he whispered, "does that change us?" Honesty burned. "It scares me, but losing you terrifies more." He turned, illuminating face by lightning. "Then we plan. Visits, calls, the works." Vows exchanged in the dark, fragile but fierce. Autumn leaves turned, mirroring shifts. My family thawed incrementally. Dad inviting us to a Jets game. Commentary laced less with barbs, more curiosity. "How'd you two meet again?" he'd ask, and Jordan's quip, "Hating each other first," drew laughs, bridges building slow. Marco apologized proper over beers, admitting his ignorance stemmed from fear, his own buried questions about identity. "You're brave, man. Wish I had that." The concession healed old wounds, friendships mending in unexpected ways. Jordan's audition loomed, packing a ritual of suitcases and second guesses. Airport drop-off wrenched, hugs lingering amid traveler's rush. 2 weeks, he promised, kissing deep. Then we're back. The separation stretched, days empty without his chaos, nights filled with calls that bridged miles, but not fully. He nailed it, contract in hand for a pilot series, voice crackling with joy. LA's temporary. We're not. Relief flooded, but ambitions tugged, whispers of sacrifice. Reunion at JFK was cinematic, him striding through arrivals, duffel slung, grin splitting face. We tumbled home, bodies reconnecting in laughter and limbs, the brownstone alive again. But success bred its own storms, his schedule ballooning with table reads and fittings, my hours stretching to cover rent. Exhaustion frayed edges, a forgotten anniversary sparking a row. You planned around me once, he accused, voice rising. Now it's all work. Guilt lashed. I'm holding us steady. For us. Truce came tear-streaked, apologies in arm's length. Climax brewed at the show's premiere, red carpet glamour clashing my discomfort in rented tux. Cameras flashed, interviews probing the boyfriend, labels sticking public now. Inside, the screening gripped, his character a designer navigating love's labyrinth, echoes of our own. Post-show party buzzed, toasts to Jordan's rise, but a producer's aside chilled, LA full-time next season. Bring him. The offer dangled, future fracturing. Outside, alley cool against heat, we confronted. I can't uproot you, he said, eyes pleading. Not again. But I saw the dream dimming, sacrifices cost. This is yours. We'll make it work. Resolution teetered until Elena's text pinged wedding gift returned. Use it for a place out west. Together. The idea ignited, plans unfolding cross-country compromise. Winter wrapped us in possibility, conflicts yielding to collaboration. From enemies ink to lovers' latitude, we charted new homes, hearts aligned. New Year's Eve dawned crisp, the city shedding old skin under fireworks promise. But for us, it marked a pivot. Jordan's LA commitment solidified, a 6-month arc with option to extend, and we decided to bridge it with a sublet in Silver Lake, a airy bungalow with lemon trees and views of the hills, my remote work setup fitting seamless. Packing the brownstone felt like farewell to a chapter, boxes labeled with memories, aunties' mugs, first fights sticky notes. Elena helped, tears smudging mascara as she hugged the space. Brooklyn won't be the same without your drama. Jordan laughed, but his eyes misted, tethered to his aunt's legacy straining. The cross-country haul was Odyssey, U-Haul rumbling west, pit stops at diners where we'd steal fries and kisses, playlists looping anthems of reinvention. Arrival in L.A. sweltered, palm shadows dancing on stucco, the bungalow a sun trap with creaky floors and a porch swing. Unpacking unfolded lazy. Evenings barbecuing under string lights. Neighbors a eclectic mix of writers and musicians drifting over with wine. You're the New Yorkers, they'd say. Intrigued by our accents and arc, Jordan thrived. Set visits buzzing with anecdotes shared over tacos, as co-star a wry trans actor who dubbed me East Coast Anchor. But transplanting roots unearthed thorns. My freelance dried up, isolation creeping in Zoom calls with Elena echoing hollow, Brooklyn friends fading to likes and emojis. Jordan noticed, pulling me to hikes in Griffith Park, trails winding to overlooks where city sprawl humbled. See that, he'd say, arm around waist. We're specks, but together. Gratitude bloomed, but envy nipped when his after-parties ran late, returning scented with smoke and strangers' laughs. Just networking, he'd assure, but doubt whispered experiments, old fears of inadequacy. The fracture widened in March, a script rewrite demanding his all-nighters, our bed cold with distance. One dawn, I woke to empty sheets, finding him in the kitchen, script margins scribbled frantic. Can't nail this scene, he muttered, hair wild. It's about betrayal, feels too real. I brewed coffee, sitting close. Draw from us. The almost loses. Insight sparked, but fatigue frayed. Days later, a call from Dad Bridge Building, inviting video chat. How's Hollywood? Pride swelled, sharing Jordan's clips, but his absence stung, screen glowing solitary. Misunderstanding erupted over a forgotten dinner reservation, his agent's whim, a power lunch morphing into evening schmooze. I waited at the bungalow, candles guttering, takeout congealing. Return at midnight. Ty askew, guilt etched. Ran over. Deal was hot. Rage simmered, unspoken hurts boiling. I'm here, supporting, and you're. He recoiled. What? Living my dream? You wanted this. The accusation landed, dredging sacrifices. I did. For you. But it feels one-sided. Tears pricked, room shrinking. He softened, pulling me down. Shit, I'm sorry. This town's a beast. Confession followed his isolation too. Industry facades masking loneliness. Our move a lifeline he clung to. Reconciliation deepened bonds. Therapy sessions virtual with a queer counselor unpacking baggage. Communication's your superpower, she urged. Homework and vulnerability journals shared over breakfast, pages raw with fears and gratitudes. Afraid you'll outgrow me, I wrote once. His reply, you're my constant. Healing threaded slow, weekends reclaiming with beach drives, Malibu waves crashing as we talked futures kids maybe, via surrogacy, a family defying odds. Surprise struck in May, a script twist greenlit centering by representation, Jordan's pitch woven in. Your story, he said, eyes shining. Premiere loomed, but conflict brewed when my old firm circled back a senior role in New York, timing cruel. Go, he pushed, masking pain. Don't tether for me. But refusal burned firm. I countered with hybrid, their concession a win. Staying. I told him, proposal impromptu on the porch, ring a simple band from a Venice jeweler. Where you go, I follow. But together. Acceptance cascaded, plans solidifying extension in L.A., Brooklyn visits penciled. Elena's baby moon overlapped, her glowing with pregnancy news, toasts to expansions. Family converged virtual dad toasting to new chapters. Marco gifting a world's okayest uncle mug, prejudices peeling like sunburn. Climax crested at the premiere, velvet ropes and flashes, Jordan radiant in tailored velvet, me beside in solidarity. Screening gripped, his character's arc mirroring ours redemption through raw love. Standing ovation thundered, tears streaming as credits rolled his name bold. Backstage, producers offer full series, L.A. permanent. Silence stretched, then his grin. We built here. Roots and wings. Summer solstice found us on the porch, swing creaking, hands linked. From contracts cage to horizon's call, love's drama unfolded not in endings, but endless beginnings. Fall in L.A. draped the hills in gold and amber, a softer season than New York's bite, but change stirred sharper winds. Jordan's series renewal locked in, production ramping to full steam, his days a whirlwind of wardrobe fittings and writers' rooms that left him drained but electric. I'd carved a niche consulting remotely for East Coast clients. Afternoons free for script reads or runs along the Strand, but the hybrid life tugged dual coasts pulling like tides. Elena's baby shower loomed virtual, her nesting phase a beacon of normalcy amid our flux. The first ripple came subtle, a co-star's flirtation, innocent banter on set bleeding into group texts, emojis winking ambiguous. Jordan laughed it off over dinner, recounting a blooper reel. Sam's harmless. Total theater kid. But the seed lodged, my by history a ghost whispering inadequacies. Nights, I'd scroll old photos, Brooklyn fire escapes. Our tentative starts, insecurity flaring when his phone buzzed late. Replies typed in dim light. Just fans, he'd say, but trust frayed thread by thread. Deepening the divide. A family crisis hit Marco's call frantic at 3 a.m. Pacific. Dad collapsed heart scare, hospital lights harsh. Come home, he urged, voice breaking. I booked red eye, Jordan insisting on joining despite table red. Jersey arrival was triage, mom's vigil in waiting room, Elena pacing with bundled newborn. Dad stabilized, weak grins through IVs, but confrontation brewed. You two flying in. Means a lot, he rasped, eyes on Jordan. Gratitude hung, but probing followed. This LA thing permanent. City's no place for roots. The subtext family, legacy weighed heavy, my choice dissected. Return west exhausted, jet lag amplifying cracks. Jordan dove back in, promo tour announced, weeks of press junkets. Its exposure, he enthused, packing slim. Alone, the bungalow echoed, doubts amplifying in empty rooms. A night out with new friends writers circle at a Echo Park bar, turned confessional, one sharing poly experiments. Boundaries evolve, she said, wine loose. The idea tempted, testing against my monogamy vows, guilt twisting as I texted Jordan goodnight, screen cold. Reunion post-tour was fevered, airport embrace desperate, homeward drive thick with missed stories. But unpacking unearthed the journal, my entry glimpsed, wondering if we're enough. He froze, hurt flashing. What does that mean? Defensiveness rose. Just thoughts. The distance, your world expanding. Accusation flew. So I'm the villain for succeeding? Room charged. Old patterns resurfacing, enemies' barbs honed sharper. No, but I'm adrift here, fighting to fit your orbit. Tears welled, his voice cracking. I brought you because I need you, not as accessory. Stalemate shattered with Elena's intervention, FaceTime stern. Talk like adults, not rivals. You're building, not battling. Prompted, we scheduled a retreat, Big Sur cabin, ocean roar to drown noise. Drive coastal, windows down, salt air cleansing. Hikes to cliffs, waves crashing below, confessions carved in tide pools. I fear losing you to the lights, I admitted, pebbles skipping. He nodded, wind tousled. And I fear holding you back. But we're not solo acts anymore. Vows renewed, boundaries redrawn, date nights sacred, check-ins ritual. Healing accelerated, his set inviting me for lunch, introducing as partner equal. Co-stars warmed, Sam clapping back, hands off, he's mine. Laughter bonded, insecurities ebbing. Back east for Thanksgiving, Dad's recovery lent grace, table talk veering personal. Proud of you, son, he said, carving turkey. Both of you. Marco's toast, to found families, sealed men's, prejudices fading to footnotes. Surprise gifted in December, Jordan's holiday wrap yielding a script cowrite, invite my psych background flavoring character arcs. Your voice, he said, pages shared under tree lights. Collaboration sparked, late nights brainstorming, our story infused fictional loves. Premiere Season 2 buzzed higher, red carpet hand in hand. Interviews probing the real-life romance. Vulnerability aired, our enemy's origin spun inspirational. But climax loomed unbidden, a tabloid blip, anonymous source spilling, by Beau questions commitment, twisted from a bar chat. Headlines stung, fans speculating, Jordan's agent urging damage control. Panic gripped, his face ashen over morning coffee. This ruins us. Rage at intrusion boiled, but resolve hardened. We countered, public post, a joint Instagram, photo porch swing, caption, from foes to forever. Doubts are detours, love's the road. Backlash mixed with support, community rallying, prejudices challenged in comments tide. Resolution washed in waves, therapy fortifying, friends circling wagons. Elena's visit with baby coos softened edges, tiny hands grasping fingers symbol unity. As credits rolled on season finale, our arc echoed screen lovers choosing despite storms. In quiet afterglow, Jordan whispered, home's you always. From contracts bind to boundless, drama yielded depth. Spring bloomed riotous in L.A., jacarandas painting streets violet, mirroring the tentative unfurling of our scarred but stronger bond. The tabloid Tempest faded to footnote, fans' fervor turning protective, but scars lingered in sidelong doubts and sharper apologies. Jordan's series hit stride, Emmy whispers circling, his confidence a quiet fire that drew me closer. I'd landed steady consulting for a streaming giant, hybrid weeks in New York syncing with his promo lulls, a rhythm sinking coasts like breaths. Friendships deepened, anchors in flux. Riley from the panel became confidant, hosting potlucks where poly talks evolved to allyship, her stories normalizing my biflux without pressure. Labels are maps, not cages, she'd say, passing hummus. Elena's motherhood phase bonded us, triple Aunt Uncle Judy's via video, her son's first milestones shared. He's got your scowl, she'd tease, Jordan cooing back. Family East mended, incremental dad's texts evolving from scores to how's the show. Marco's visit surprise, crashing our bungalow with craft beers and construction yarns, admitting therapy for his own closets. You're my hero, primo. Showing it's okay to bend. But undercurrents swirled, Jordan's rising star breeding isolation and new agents pushing solo events, red carpet sans plus ones for narrative. One gala, he returned dawn-dazed, tux rumpled, stories of schmoozes laced with exhaustion. They want the brand, not the man. I held him in shower steam, washing away glitter. Then we redefine it. Pact formed couples, public push joint interviews. Our story sold as triumph over tropes. Misunderstanding brewed in June, my New York stint overlapping a cast retreat he skipped for me, guilt gnawing. Texts lagged, his miss you met mine delayed by deadlines. Return to empty bungalow, fridge bare, note, when a set early. Love. Loneliness amplified, scrolling feeds of his laughs with cast, envy twisting to accusation. Confrontation exploded over takeout, chopsticks clattering. You bailed on the retreat for what? More spreadsheets. Hurt lashed. For us, balance. But you thrive without. He recoiled. Thrive? I'm surviving spotlights, wishing for your voice in the noise. Tears cleared air, apologies in arms. But fracture revealed deeper his fear of fame's maw swallowing authenticity, my dread of sidelining. Counselor session virtual unpacked. Exercises in radical honesty. I need you whole, not halved voiced raw. Healing hiked in Runyon. Trails steep as talks. Vistas affirming smallness. Surprise uplifted August. Elena's announcement move west for Tom's job transfer. Family compound. Joy cascaded. Plans for playdates and shared holidays. Dad's visit followed. Jersey stoicism cracking at Hollywood sign selfies. Toasting over steaks to reinventions. Prejudices peeled. His quiet, love's tougher than I thought concession gold. Climax surged in September. Series finale script leaked. Twist killing Jordan's character in sacrificial arc backlash erupted fans petitioning. Trades speculating spinoff. He spiraled, pacing bungalow. Drafts shredded. They gutted my heart. Rage shared. I rallied calls to showrunner. Psych Lens arguing redemption over tragedy. Push paid. Rewrite salvaged nuance. Airing to acclaim. Premiere party. Toasts flowed. But private moment balcony. Is whisper. You saved it. Us. Kiss sealed. Stars witnesses. Fall grounded us. Elena's arrival. Nesting chaos baby gear invading. Laughter echoing. From Ink's enmity to Legacy's light, conflicts climaxed in Clarity Love's plot twists, forging unbreakable narrative. Winter's chill kissed L.A. rare, frost etching windows, a nod to roots as holidays neared. Elena's brood expanded our circle. Thanksgiving potluck blending Rivera tamales with Haze cocoa, dad video toasting from Jersey, voice warmer, pass the pie, kids. Jordan's series wrapped triumphant, renewal secured. But pivot loomed his pivot to producing, pilot pitch birthing queer psych drama, our collaboration core. Your brain, my flair. He'd quip, whiteboards scrawled in living room. Doubts dormant stirred subtle, my by visibility panel invite clashing his schedule. Old insecurities flaring spotlights yours. He sensed, canceling shoot for attendance, stage shared hands clasped. Were the story, mic'd bold. Applause thundered. Questions probing enemies to icons. Laughter lightened. Truths aired fluid identities, thriving tandem. Friendship fortified. Riley's wedding our witness. Vows vowing elasticity. Marco's engagement news bridged coasts. Bachelor bash hybrid virtual toast slurred. Elena's labor scare false alarm bonded deeper. Hospital vigil his hand-mine anchor. Misunderstanding minor June jam. Agent pushing solo book deal his memoir. My input sidelined. It's my voice, defended, but exclusion stung. Row brief, resolution in co-write sessions, chapters dual bylines weaving arcs. Surprise December, Dad's trip west unannounced. Griffith Observatory stargazing confessions, I was wrong. You're my pride. Tears froze cheeks, embrace thawing final ice. Climax crested pilot greenlight, table read electric, our creation alive. Premiere streamed global, chats ablaze, legacy launched. Post-fest, beach bonfire, Jordan's murmur, from contract to cosmos. Love's drama eternal, peaks valleys etching souls. Years folded, brownstone sold but spirit enduring. L.A. home woven with visits east. Elena's kids called us Tio Alex Tio Jordan. Marco's wedding danced under lights. Prejudices relics. Understanding's foundations, surprises joys, conflicts growth's forge. At 2 a.m. whispers, home, echoed eternal, enemies echo lover's lullaby.